heavily armed to his teeth by United States and his European allies, particularly the French, the famous shake hand of Rumsfeld and Saddam Hussein, and the Iran-Iraq War of 1918 and 1988, that in the eloquent words of former Secretary of State Kissinger, I wish they would kill each other off. And for 8 years, they in fact managed to kill each other off. Hundreds of thousands on the Iranian sides, tens of thousands on the Iraqi sides. And what it managed to do was in fact prevent the spread of the Iranian Revolution, appeal of Iranian Revolution westward. At the same time, the Russian invasion of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan took place, right, 1979, 1980. And by creating CIA money, Pakistani intelligence, CIA idea, Pakistani intelligence, Saudi money, created the Mujahideen, or as then President Reagan used to refer to them, bringing them here to White House, to the Mujahideen, the functional equivalents of our founding fathers, right? You remember that phrase. So the creation of the Mujahideen / Taliban, funding them, training them, etc., had two simultaneous purposes. One purpose was to expel the Soviets, successful, and the second purpose was to prevent the Shi'i-inspired Iranian Revolution via the Sunni-inspired Wahhabism of the Taliban of spreading into Central Asia and further into Afghanistan. The scenario worked. Taliban were created, Islamic Revolution lost its appeal east and west, it degenerated into a theocracy, it killed off all its nationalist and socialist elements and became radically Islamized and used the hostage crisis as the hostage crisis between November 1978 and January 1980, 444 days, to eliminate all the nationalist and socialist alternatives and create an Islamic republic, an Islamic constitution, Vilayat al-Faqih, etc., etc. And then towards the end of Khomeini's life in 1988-89, when he knew that Montazeri was not going to succeed him because Montazeri differed with him, the Salman Rushdie affair happened, and Salman Rushdie affair became a camouflage, a smoke screen for redrafting of the constitution in a manner that would perpetuate the Islamic Republic. So, this all by way of a background of where things were is when this September the 11th happened. So after September the 11th, 2001, October 7th, US-led invasion of Afghanistan happens. The Islamic Republic was an ally of the United States in that war, provided aerospace, strategic support for United States, and Islamic Republic was a beneficiary of the dismantling of the Taliban. Right before September the 11th, soon after the presidency of Khatami, Iranian army was actually amassing on the border with Afghanistan, and there was 6 Iranian diplomats were hanged, publicly hanged by the Taliban, and there was a strong possibility of a war with Afghanistan. And the dismantling of the Taliban, attacking Afghanistan, eliminating the Taliban, or destroying them, or you know, whatever is the term, was beneficiary to the Islamic Republic. Okay? Soon after that, in the so-called war against terrorism, Islamic Republic was a participant in that. Islamic Republic captured Arab nationals that were fleeing from Afghanistan, photocopied their passports, and according to a recent revelation by a former Bush administration officials, and handed over those passports to American authorities. Then come 1980 and the US invasion of US-led invasion of Iraq. What better thing could have possibly happened? Saddam Hussein was the enemy #1 of Islamic Republic, and it was eliminated. Iraq as a military force, Saddam Hussein as a military threat, the Republican Guard, etc., all destroyed. Now, if you, as a footnote, remember the first Gulf War and the reason that, and the reason that the first President Bush did not allow General Schwarzkopf to march towards Baghdad was very simple. A collapse of Saddam Hussein would give rise to the Shias in the south, Kurds in the north. An alliance, this is then the president, this is the wisdom of the father that the son lacked. The collapse of Saddam Hussein, alliance between the Shias in the south and Iranians will create immediate threat to Saudi Arabia, American ally, and the same thing would happen in the north with Kurds, 5 million, 10 million, the Turkish Kurds will pose a problem to the Turkish ally. He didn't want that to happen, so he stopped General Schwarzkopf from marching. He could have easily gone to then in 1990. But things changed. You all know the story. You live in Washington, new cons, this and that. And come President Bush, the second, the son, he didn't follow that wisdom. And he went all the way down. And everything that President Bush the first feared actually happened. Uprising of the Shias in the south, alliance with the Iranians, uprising, I mean, Kurdistan in the north is effectively an American base, and but of course the Turks don't like it. They come and hit whatever they want in the north. Americans kind of stay away, etc. So the collapse of the Iraq as a nation state, you follow? And the rise of the Shias, the strong possibility of an Islamic republic. 60% of the Iraqis are Shias. The possibility of an Islamic republic of Iraq, God forbid, is that something that the Islamic Republic of Iran would fear? They very much welcome it. I'm running out of time. I'm just summarizing my argument. My argument is that Islamic Republic of Iran is a natural ally, is kind of a cantankerous marriage. They constantly are fighting, but they have remained in the marriage. What I'm offering is simply a rereading of the Iran-Contra affair, not as an affair, not as a scandal, but actually as a template of this kind of relationship, the Iran-Contra event that happened, as a template of this relationship that has existed not in the aftermath of the September the 11th, but in fact since the last days of Khomeini. The Intra-Contra affair happened when Khomeini was still alive. He approved of arms for hostages swaps when he was still alive, and this is during President Reagan. So the question is, what is this story of sanctions and attacks and military scenarios? Would Israelis do it? Will Americans do it, etc.? My suggestion is that the state of war that we have been over the last 8 years, this state of war is far more important than the actuality of war. The state of war is beneficial to Iranians, speaking from the Iranian side, because there are 3 profound democratic movements in Iran: women's rights movement, student movement, and labor movement. And anytime they utter a word against their government, they're accused of collaborating with Americans. And as a result, the designation of Iran as a what you call it, axis of evil happened when? In January 2002. This is the time, during the time of Khatami's presidency. Khatami, those of you who may not know, Khatami's popularity for 82 consecutive years is similar to the movement that Obama has generated. What is important is the movement, not the man himself, who is becoming increasingly corrupt by powers of this city, but the movement of young, progressive, idealist Americans who are after him. The same was for Khatami. Much hope, aspirations, and anticipation was invested in Khatami. That Khatami was not able to deliver is a different story. But the designation of Iran as on the axis of evil during the presidency of Khatami is not the only one contributing factor to the election of Ahmadinejad. The same state of war I would offer is beneficial here to this situation, when right now you have $700 billion of our innocent tax money. Again, just a footnote to the previous speaker of this grand standing of not giving taxes. There are alternative ways of not giving taxes. My wife and I just gave birth to 2 beautiful children. Have more children instead of grandstanding. We are not paying 2 academics on 2 academic salaries. We are not paying a penny to Uncle Sam to make bombs, to drop it on people who look more like me than my tax collectors, right? So there are alternative ways of tax evasion. Beautiful children. Just go home and make children.